On the eve of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, the Southern District of New York Office of the Attorney General had their own Thursday night massacre, as count them, eight career prosecutors stood up to Trump and his evil troll, Emil Bove. Bove is your typical Trump hack who was given a high position in the DOJ because he helped defend Trump. The first to quit was Manhattan Attorney General Danielle Sassoon. And why did Danielle Sassoon and 7 other career prosecutors quit right behind her? Because DOJ troglodyte in charge of weaponizing the Justice Department, Emil Bove, ordered her to drop the corruption case against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. The DOJ under Biden caught Adams red-handed in a political corruption case, and ever since then, Adams has been kissing Trump's butt to get charges dropped. And you know Trump, everything is transactional. So what did Adams offer Trump? Something no mayor in the United States has offered: access to his jails for ICE. And yes, it's a coercive arrangement. Listen to Blowhard Homan pontificate about how much they have coerced the corrupt Adams to do the bidding of ICE.
And he doesn't come through.
You're up early anyway.
If he doesn't come through, I'll be back in New York City,
Right.
and we won't be sitting on the couch. I'll be in his office, up his butt, saying, "Where the hell is the agreement we came to?" So,
and I want ICE to deliver. And I want ICE to deliver. We're going to deliver for the safety of the people of this city.
Right.
So now it's Trump's turn to keep his part of the bargain. And if it were an honest transaction, like, say, for example, paying a municipality for security fees from the campaign, then Trump would have screwed Adams along with every other mayor in the U.S. But because it's a crooked deal, Trump has put the wheels in motion and ordered Bove, former head of the Department of Pond Scum at Dewey, Cheatham and Howe, to have the Attorney General drop the case. Only that Attorney General was Danielle Sassoon. The first thing you need to know about Sassoon is that, yes, she has great hair. It runs in the family. Second, she clerked under Antonin Scalia. Now, am I suggesting that Scalia was a paragon of virtue? Not in the slightest. But how do you get to clerk for Scalia? Well, step 1, come from privilege. Step 2, work your tail off in high school so you can get into a great college, where you work your tail off to get into a great law school, where you work your tail off and join the Federalist Society to clerk for a Supreme Court justice. And of course, privilege helps. The point is, Sassoon did not work her tail off and clerk for Scalia, all so she could become a political stooge like the bottom feeder Bove. She was given an unethical order and she took a hard pass. But she did not go quietly into that good night. She wrote this in her resignation to Attorney General and political huckster Pam Bondi. On February 10th, 2025, I received a memorandum from Acting Deputy General Emil Bove directing me to dismiss the indictment against Mayor Eric Adams without prejudice, subject to certain conditions, which would require leave of court. I do not repeat here the evidence against Adams that proves beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed several federal crimes. And yes, that is our Republican Manhattan Attorney General putting into the public record that Eric Adams is guilty as sin. We have this guy dead to rights and we need to prosecute. But she continues to scorch the earth by stating for the public record, Mr. Bove rightly has never called into question that the charges against Adams are serious and supported by fact and law. In Mr. Bove's memo, however, he directs me to dismiss an indictment returned by a duly constituted grand jury for reasons having nothing to do with the strength of the case. In other words, just what are you political hacks up to? But Sassoon is not done torching this Attorney General's administration. She writes, because the law does not support a dismissal, and because I am confident that Adams has committed the crimes with which he is charged, I cannot agree to seek a dismissal driven by improper considerations. And if you think that was good, here's her parting shot. I remain baffled by the rushed and superficial process by which this decision was reached, in seeming collaboration with Adams's counsel and without my direct input on the ultimate stated rationales for dismissal. So, in other words, you cut a backroom deal for political reasons. And now, in the event you are unwilling to meet or to reconsider the directive in light of the problems raised by Mr. Bove's memo, I am prepared to offer my resignation. And of course, the saga doesn't end there. Just like the Nixon administration firing Archibald Cox for being too successful with the Watergate investigation, the Trump administration said, "Next man up." Only, unlike the Nixon administration, there wasn't an ethically compromised, power-hungry political stooge like Robert Bork willing to do the dirty work so that he could end up on the Supreme Court. The next 7 assistant attorney generals in the office refused to comply. One of them was Hagan Scotton, who received 2 Bronze Stars serving in Iraq and later clerked for Justice Roberts. Again, this is the kind of person who did not risk so much and work so hard just so they could become a political stooge. Scotton was asked to do the dirty deed and wrote this instead. "I have received correspondence indicating that I refused your order to move to dismiss the indictment against Eric Adams without prejudice, subject to certain conditions, including the express possibility of reinstatement of the indictment. That is not exactly correct. The U.S. Attorney, Danielle R. Sassoon, never asked me to file such a motion, and I therefore never had an opportunity to refuse. But I am entirely in agreement with her decision not to do so." So in other words, nah, dude, she's right, and you're just a turd who doesn't even know how this went down. He then continues this assault as only a good veteran can. The first justification for the motion is so weak as to be transparently pretextual. The second justification is worse. No system of ordered liberty can allow the government to use the carrot of dismissing charges or the threat of threatening to bring them again to induce an elected official to support its policy objectives. And Hagen ends by tossing his last grenade right in Bove's lap. Any assistant U.S. attorney would know that our laws and traditions do not allow using the prosecutorial power to influence other citizens, much less elected officials, in this way. If no lawyer within earshot of the president is willing to give him that advice, I expect you will eventually find someone who is enough of a fool or enough of a coward to file your motion. But it was never going to be me. And how do you not salute this guy for standing up for his country with such principle and backbone and taking a knife right to the kidney of Bove? But now we know why Trump is after the deep state. Because it is within the deep state that true conservative Republicans are doing their best to keep America alive and to resist Trump's desire to install fascism. There is little, if anything, I can agree with in terms of the judicial philosophy of the Federalist Society, but I can join forces with any conservative Republican like Adam Kinzinger, Liz Cheney, Danielle Sassoon, and Hagen Scotton to defend this country from the enemy within. We all need to do the same. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.